Hello, friends. I'm DJ Lance Rock, and I have to say, Rock and Roll Grad School is awesome!
This is Rock and Roll Grad School with your hosts Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling. Hey, they're halfway there, living on a prayer.
Hello, kitties. We are going to have a real good time together because we're combining two things everybody loves. Strings and Metallica.
Indeed.
You haven't lived until you've heard Master of Puppets or Saint Anger performed on four cellos.
It's true. I
And
mean, you
that's why
think
we're
we
here
jest,
today.
but we do not jest. This is actually true.
Yes. And I know in the interview, he was very, very reticent to say it, but I think he got a better sound than the drums on Saint Anger, which,
I mean,
to some low bar, but others, you know.
Yeah.
Now, so they have, this is volume 2 of their record. Actually, did we run this one? Now
What?
that we talk, did we run this episode already? Or was that on?
We did. We ran it on Y, right?
Right.
But did we run it on grad school?
No, we didn't. Okay, perfect. We didn't.
Okay.
But and then you look at the people, James Hetfield's on here, Robert Trujillo's on here,
I mean,
and Cliff Burton is even on here.
so that's, I mean, again, that's the best compliment you can get.
Exactly. Now, I don't want to go back to talking about Robert Plant, but maybe I do.
They always do.
And this is not necessarily contingent upon Robert Plant being in the room. So, Outlaw Country Music Fest. Well, listen, I'll tell you.
Is he in the room?
I wish. That man's a golden god. Here's the thing. So, in front of me, 2 seats are open for most of the opening act don't show up. About maybe a quarter of the way through the Alison Krauss Robert Plant experience, which really you need to experience the full thing to get in the groove with which that all of that music is being played. These 2 women sit down, one of whom is soaking wet from the pouring rain that happened.
Yes.
Stands up, shimmies and grooves for about 30 seconds, sits back down, leaves again. Comes back, lost her phone around us. Someone else found her phone in 20 seconds. Effusive praise to the person who finds it. And then in the middle of the set, takes out a small little vial of, I mean, maybe 1.5 inch size length, pours whatever's in it into her hands and kind of just does this above her and waves this, and everything kind of floats into the ether. The band goes on for another song. It ends. She turns around to look to me and the woman sitting next to me as those directly behind her. And I can't hear it all because of the rapturous applause for Alison Krauss and Robert Plant. But I do hear her say something, something, something. Ashes died 1 year ago today.
No.
So here's the thing. She has had some cocktails. And I completely understand everyone dealing with loss in their own way and going through that process, and the anniversary, especially the first anniversary, is a very big, it's a journey. It's a journey.
Yeah.
And I wish her nothing but peace on that journey. And clearly, given her state and what I believe was her inebriation, she was doing her best to deal with this and get through this.
Sure.
And I wish her well on her journey. And even then, go with God. But one, I really just want to listen to the music.
Of course.
And there was a lot of her trying to take a picture of the screen with her phone, and it was all. Also, if you're going to spread ashes anywhere, just maybe tell the people around
Well,
you.
you would
Do it
think.
near them.
Yeah, that probably not the best.
And I had lovely seats, like 25th row back. It was great. I was on the side so I could see around Dylan's big ass piano. But should I die, should you choose to spread my ashes at a music venue, spread me in a better section.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, like closer up. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying golden circle, but like, let's just get in the first 10, 15.
1000%.
Okay, that's all.
No.
What made you want to kind of go back to the Metallica? This is volume 2. Was this always the idea to do a part 2 to this record?
Well, at least I think that throughout the whole career, we have had this in our minds that in some point we might want to go back to this, because we always loved to play Metallica. That's the obvious reason why we started. And there were still so many cool songs left that didn't fit into the first album. So in a way, this has been in our minds for maybe 20 years already. But this was just the right moment. We had the re-release of the first album in 2016, and we'd made some anniversary tours for a couple of years. We did the playing Metallica concept, and there was still a high demand from promoters and obviously from the audiences that we should play more of those shows, and they were very popular. And that's why we thought that, okay, this is the moment where we want to do those concerts again, but this time let's bring in even a new album to support all of that. So yeah, it just felt like a correct timing. And we have always had that in as our guiding light, in a way that we need to do things that feel right in the right moment, and tackling into such projects where we feel that we still have a possibility to develop ourselves, to evolve as a band, to bring our sound, the entire cello equipment mess like further. So I think one of the reasons why Apocalyptica is still going strong, at least in our heads, is the fact that we want to challenge ourselves and all the time find new ways of using our instruments and new ways of creating music.
Well,
What was sorry.
No, go.
What was the first song that you didn't make it to the first album that you knew unequivocally had to be on this one?
Well, personally, one of the most obvious songs which was probably the first song that came into the mind when we spoke about the possibility of this album with Eikka the first time. I have been always voting for Blackened, because that's the first song I heard in 80s from Metallica, and that brought me, Justice for All album brought me into their music. And actually that might be the reason why this album has several songs from that Justice for All album, because it really, for me personally, this was amazing. That I used to love Metallica lots when I was a teenager, so it was all about Metallica's music when we were in school. And of course then came even long periods of time that you didn't listen to them so actively anymore, maybe creating own music, touring a lot, and the life changes as well, and music taste changes. But last year when we started this process, I was listening absolutely all of Metallica's back catalog, even a couple of times, like just to get the new feel and to seek for possible songs we could play. And that was a an amazing moment because it brought me back to the very, very same feeling of the teenager. There are the obvious reasons why their music is timeless, why it still fascinates people a generation after another. So it kind of made the same thing to me, that I renewed my love towards Metallica's music throughout this, and it was really, really fascinating thing to realize, and kind of feels good in this moment of life to feel young again.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we are allowed to be childish or something similar, that life doesn't always need to be too serious. And yeah,
Oh,
I still love
yes.
what we do, and it's amazing.
Always. We should be childish always.
Mhm. Well, and it's so
Yeah.
cool. You said you've got, there's Ride the Lightning 1, which the fact that didn't make the first record is mind-boggling, but
No.
we'll go from there. We'll let that be. You play Saint Anger. How do you feel about the drums on that record? And how did you was that like we can make the sound better than the way they did it?
Saint Anger is, of course, it divides people.
That's a
And,
nice way to put it. Let's put it that way.
Divides people. Another way, a polite way of saying is, it is a challenging album. I might not be able to listen to the entire album from the beginning to end, but it has great moments. It has absolutely hilariously cool riffs. And when it comes to the title track itself, we thought that we definitely want to have something also from this album. And suddenly when we started to think of the things and forget basically the how Metallica sounds, because that's also one thing we had to do with basically all the songs. If you want to create an arrangement of your own, and in a way that there is a reason why our kind of a band is playing somebody else's music, we have to kind of forget how the original is and find a interesting and fascinating way to approach the music. So in our minds, I think that we adapt the song in a way that we try to steal it, like let's make it to sound like an Apocalyptica song, but of course it is the great song of Metallica. So Saint Anger was really, really cool, because realizing that the riff is amazing, it works so cool with the cello, and we just thought that, okay, let's go even more brutal. Let's not be afraid of that aspect. And I think that we just challenged ourselves, and especially with the help of our producer, Joe Barresi, who is incredible with all the equipment. He has every single amp and stompbox ever created in human history, basically. So he's really into sound. We spent countless hours and days of time to just find cool sounding, weirdly vibrating things, and challenging the cello as an instrument to the limits and over that. And I don't tell yet maybe how we created the snare, but that was a cool, because it was not done with the percussions. It was accidentally I was playing the ending solo of Holier Than Thou, actually, and we once again had like one full day of fooling around with effects and all weird delays with Joe. And in the end of the evening, I was already kind of exhausted, and I just started to slap and bang my cello in a very stupid way, like a puppy would be when it's bored, something like this. And suddenly there was this sound in our ears, and we looked at each other with Joe. Without communication, we both knew that we fucking found the Saint Anger snare from the cello, just accidentally.
Amazing.
And then we quickly swapped into this song, and yeah, there it is. And I was almost breaking my instrument, but going really, really crazy with it. But yeah, some really cool and funny things happen when you explore and you are open-minded in the studio. I think I'm very happy and proud about our version of Saint Anger, because oh, this is gonna sound bad. It sounds now as it should have always sounded.
No,
I
that's
hear you.
fair.
Yeah.
No, that
And how many
But
Metallica
the
fans
song
are
is great.
certainly no shade there,
Right.
but I think there's many a Metallica fan who might be like, yeah, the snare sounds better.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And the other cool thing on this record, you have one track that you dedicate to Cliff Burton, and then the
Yes.
track right after that, you have Rob, I can never say his last name, Trujillo, I believe,
Yeah.
playing with
So,
you.
yeah.
So you've got this great like Metallica past and present. What was it like playing with him? Were you in the studio with him when he was recording his part? Did you get to communicate with him at all?
Yeah, actually, the entire thing went in a way that we have had a very close and Metallica has been a close relation with the guys throughout the whole career. Metallica has always been incredibly supportive to the things we have done, and
Even
but we
Lars?
always, especially Lars, especially
Fucking
I have to
Lars.
say that especially Lars, and maybe that's because of sharing the Scandinavian aspect. That but Lars has
Yes.
been
Mhm.
really curious about us since the beginning, and I would guess that he is the main reason why we ever supported them in the start and all of that. But yeah, we had to write. We wanted to write to Lars that we would have a dream and a plan, another album. This, and we wanted to ask, just like in general, would they accept it, or kind of do we have their approval or blessing? And
Mhm.
the answer was absolutely yes, and that they always loved the things what we have done. So eventually Rob actually even informed that if you need the bass for something, he would be willing to do it, and we didn't expect such a gesture from their side, and it was wonderful, amazing thing.
Yeah.
He actually he wanted to record by himself, so we were basically sitting in a cafeteria next to the studio, but he was like he wanted to be very concentrated in the playing of that. But it was amazing, of course. Then also it was amazing to have Rob in the studio listening to the other songs and kind of seeing his enthusiasm. He's a big music lover, and seeing the smile of his, like, and then he starts to ask, okay, how did you do this thing? And wow, did you play that solo? Whoa. So it's incredible, of course, because we love their music, we love the guys, have a like never ending appreciation to the legacy they've created for the world of music. So it's amazing that we have a chance to even play with these dudes and still show our kind of an appreciation to their music.
I mean,
Was
that's
that
the ultimate, right? I mean, that is what more could any, I don't know. I feel like that's the ultimate of the ultimate of the ultimate, which is not possible, but that to not only be able to get their blessing, to have him play, to have to see, to listen and hear what he played, then to have him show that he enjoys what you did, but then also to see the joy of what he created and see through his eyes how he appreciates it's like the full circle of fan to appreciate it. It's just like the ultimate full circle of what music does and brings, and like that how it
mutual
transpired through all
admiration?
of you, right?
Yeah.
But then mutual admiration
Yeah.
society always has that negative connotation, although I think it's
Mm.
wonderful. But
Right.
it's just like you got to experience just the most beautiful way that music feeds the world, right?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I think, yeah, it is. And then the people who really do their art with full hearts, they seem to be like so true persons. For example, I can't ever stop saying how amazing music lovers Metallica people are. They don't, the guys, of course, they are the biggest band in the business, but you don't really feel it. You don't see
Right.
it in their behavior in that sense. They are curious about things, curious about projects and new music and stuff like that. So I would guess that that's also one of the big reasons why they kept going on always, that there is just the passion that you love to play those riffs. And there's like it's so amazing. And it has transferred to us as well since the start, and I'm really highly expecting actually all the tours that are coming now with this album, because it will be the moment when, for example, me can go to the stage once again, pretending to be eternally teenager who
That's
just loves
awesome.
this music and seeing like I hope to always the main purpose probably or the biggest reward in a gig is to see people smiling, laughing, in tears maybe, so that those emotions that we feel when we play, that they are transferred also to the audience, and that is something so beautiful that I can't explain. It's
That's
it's
amazing.
amazing feeling of unity in some kind.
Right.
Everybody
Well,
is there because of the same reason.
right. And don't you love as kids how everyone was so like afraid of, everyone was so afraid of Metallica and afraid of them, and they were so scary and awful, and it was so awful, and they were such terrible, scary people. And and then you think of it now, and they're such great people, and all the good things you're saying. I love it. I don't know. I think it's funny how it's just great.
Yeah, and of course
Because
they are
they're awesome.
scary.
Right. They're terrifying. They're awful, terrible, terrible people. But no, it's amazing.
Well, what was it like because of this relationship with the band when you're cutting this record to know that there is no doubt that these guys are going to hear it?
Right.
And whether it's replicating a solo or a sound, to know that Kirk Hammett is going to be listening to you play the same riff and kind of going, you're dealing with,
He's
like
not
you said,
gonna
these
do that.
but you're dealing with
I
these
know.
great musicians, and they obviously have this great body of work and an amazing career. And then you're showing up and going, so here's how we did one. Is that a little intimidating? Do you, when you made the record, are you in the back of your mind going, I hope Kirk digs this because this is scary?
When you do your thing, you never should be afraid of anything, I think, and keeping all of those elements out of your mind usually helps to find the best version of yourself. So I would say that I I think that we were kind of brave in a way, trying to make all these songs to sound still as Apocalyptica. And that's very important for us, that we didn't want to replicate things or just to play a song with the cello, but instead like finding a different type of an arrangement even for majority of these songs. And I would say that this is now 9 songs where we go music genre wise in a very wide range, from acoustic chamber music to brutal thrash and everything in between in a way. So I think the only thing you can do while creating something like this is to trust yourself. And if you love it from the bottom of your heart, you are definitely doing something right. At least aesthetically, what pleases us. And then it's question about the rest of the world. They judge it, whether they like it or whether they feel the same as we do. But actually, the Metallica, they already heard the album, of course, and we got some really pleasing feedback actually. So they seem to dig it a lot, and yeah, it's amazing in a way to realize that all of this is possible.
Oh, just again, like
But yeah, for the audience, I feel that anybody who really makes music that vibrates strongly inside them, they do find the like-minded people who feel and who need this similar feeling. I always trusted that if I cry because I would be touched by some song, I can't be the only one who feels that deep emotion in the world.
Mm-hmm. It's
yeah.
true.
And what was I going to say? I completely lost my train of thought. Well, but I think too, like you said, the sincerity of it, and the love comes through, and that's kind of the key as well, that this is coming from such a place of admiration, and it's not like, oh, we can clean these songs up. These are great songs, and let us show you how great by showing the versatility of them. How often did you stop and go, man, if the 16-year-old me could see this now, Robert kicked us out of the studio, we're sitting next door waiting for him to finish. Like, I'm assuming that would just blow your mind as a kid growing up listening to these records.
Of course, it has a strong effect, and in a way, it still does that thrill. And
Mhm.
but after all these years, after a long career of our own, of course you start to see things in a different way. So maybe when I think of the Metallica or the individuals behind Metallica, I see them still as my idols, but also as colleagues, as people who do their work, they love what they do. So there is a lot of common, and it's a fascinating fact that, and especially it comes from their behavior, that it never felt like that we would be the small band and you know, something weird like that. But instead of encouraging, and I think that they must have genuinely liked our work too, because the support has been constant since the start, and it still is there. So I'm very happy, and I hope that they actually, somebody of them could come to the show. We are having our release concert in Helsinki on, I think, 8th of June, which is in between two Metallica shows in the Olympic Stadium in Helsinki. So our
That's
release date
perfect.
is planned
Synergy. That's amazing.
planned to that
Yeah.
weekend, and we have our album release show is in between Metallica concerts on the Saturday, when the city is anyway full of Metallica fans, and so it's just like really, really wonderful weekend ahead, and I hope that they come to watch our show. It's always thrilling. I remember the very first time when we were so young and playing some festival somewhere, and in between something like Fight Fire with Fire or a brutal song, I'm banging my crazy head
Mhm.
and looking to the side of the stage, and the whole Metallica is there, and James is like biting his teeth and
Amazing.
checking on us, and I'm like, this is so fucked up.
Like,
It's
what's
so cool.
happening?
Yeah.
But you
It's
know,
so
like,
cool.
but instead that making me feel more nervous or something, I think it only encouraged to do that. Okay,
Mm.
it seems like they also appreciate the musicianship of ours. It's cool.
I love it. I just see like I just keep having visions of a little kid just like their mom being like, go practice your cello, go practice your cello. And them just being like, I just want to be a rock star. I just want to be a rock star. And I just want to show them your videos. I just show them your Instagram, being like, you can be both. You can do both. Practice your cello and you can be a rock star and play the cello. Like it's
Did you have
amazing.
that? Did you have that growing up? Were you always like, I like classical, I like playing it, but you know, ride the lightning. Come on.
I think that this transition from we didn't plan on leaving everything behind and creating a band and starting to conquer the world, but instead we wanted to do the project to play music we loved, and it was a very bold try to do something like that with the cellos. All of us, we had still our classical career in the side for
Sure.
many years since we started, but only maybe after, I would say, after the fourth album, there was a moment, for example, when I had to decide that I simply just can't do my orchestra job. I had a vacancy in Helsinki Philharmonics, and I had to choose that, okay, now we put all the effort to this band, that we still have so much ahead and so much possibilities. But I would still not like to completely forget the classical
Sure.
player in me. And sometimes I try to find space and time to play classical chamber music concerts, because it's very healing for the soul, and
That's
it's a
beautiful.
strong side of musicianship, which
Mhm.
also supports Apocalyptica, because I think that at the best times we are able to use quite a lot of the classical world knowledge also
Oh,
in our
sure.
work, and for example in the more symphonical elements or that. So it's a funny combination of
They're
classical
not
and
that
metal tradition.
well, they're not
Yeah.
that far apart. I mean, if you break it down, metal, the like music, they're not that far apart, really. I mean, they are, but they're not.
No,
If you really listen, they're
they
not.
exactly. I like that they are and they are not. And in a
Mhm.
way, music is much more than only genres, because I
Right.
feel that you listen to whatever, type of a music, and it can create you the similar kind of an emotion inside.
Exactly.
For example, I might get very powerfully bombarded by some Behemoth or Slayer, or very strong and deep and dark classical symphonies of
Absolutely.
Shostakovich.
The passion is there with both.
Or those big, at least in the emotions and the mentally, the way where the artist wants to affect the listener, those things might be very similar in so many music styles.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Without
like
a
Heidi
doubt.
said, I think, yeah, certainly musically, there's the similarities in the genres, but also the emotions of it. I mean,
Right.
they are both forms of music that really draw deeply for a lot of people and really, you know, affect folks and kind of get them in the heart and don't let go. So in that way, it very much seems like it's not a far
Right.
walk to go from, you know, Wagner to this, or whomever to this.
For sure.
Well,
Exactly. And
yeah.
another interesting thing about music and creating music is that you can take, for example, a very, very powerful heavy metal riff and adding those classical symphony orchestral
Right.
elements on top of it, and then you suddenly have a symphonic metal
Exactly.
band, which is, you know,
Yeah. It's so
it is
true.
really cool.
I've used that argument with my mother many times over my life.
Apocalyptica Plays Metallica Volume 2 is available July 6th wherever you get your music. For more information, check out their website, apocalyptica.com, and they are also on Facebook at facebook.com/apocalyptica.
Rock and Roll Grad School is produced by the Professional Production Company. Please be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, because your impassioned review is just as honest as us standing backstage waiting to come back on for the encore. For more information, you can check out our website, rockandrollgradschool.com. And like everyone else, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Today's show was recorded and produced by Heidi Hegquist and myself from our world headquarters located on the second floor of the professional office building, centrally located downtown. Our reluctant executive producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing executive producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our intern is Zach Jackson. This one's for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Good night, drive safe. May all your favorite bands stay together.